about 2 times that fairy tales got really weird. Like, really weird. In the Grimm's version of Snow White, the magic mirror tells the queen that as long as Snow White is alive and well, Snow White will always be the fairest in the land. And no matter what the queen does, no matter how far away she banishes Snow White is still the fairest because she is alive. The queen tricks Snow White into eating an enchanted poisoned apple, which kills Snow White and also puts her under a spell. The dwarves are so heartbroken at the death of Snow White. They put her inside a glass coffin in the forest, and they take turns sitting by her coffin so that they can mourn her. One day a prince is on his way through the forest, because why not? And he sees the coffin and he sees Snow White, and he is like, this is the most beautiful woman I have ever seen in my entire life. And he offers to pay the dwarves money to buy Snow White in her glass coffin and take her back to the castle with him so he can just look at her whenever he wants. And for some reason, the dwarves agree to this. And on the way back to the castle, the coffin is jostling around. A piece of poisoned apple gets dislodged from Snow White's throat, breaking the spell, and she comes back to life. And the prince is like, you're alive again, and you're my dream girl, and I love you, and you're beautiful. You are the love of my life. That's why I paid money for your corpse. Why don't we get married? Snow White is like, yeah, this sounds like a totally normal, great thing to do. And let's not forget the story of Sleeping Beauty, who pricks her finger on a spinning wheel and falls under a spell and into an enchanted coma. The whole kingdom basically becomes frozen in time, and she is just in a coma in her bed in the castle until one day when a prince is making his way through the forest. The prince comes to the castle and he sees it's all overgrown with vines and plants, and he's like, let me check this abandoned castle out. He hops the wall, goes into the castle, he's like looking around, checking stuff out, and then he finds Sleeping Beauty. He doesn't know if she's in a coma or dead, but he's like, this is the most beautiful girl I've ever seen, and she has to be mine. The prince does horrific things to Sleeping Beauty while she is in this spell coma, and then he bounces. Because of everything that happened to her, Sleeping Beauty becomes pregnant with twins. When the babies are born, one of them ends up breaking the spell and bringing her back to life. But, you know, let's take those stories and make them into a super cute movie for kids.